$3.3 billion liquidated, Bitcoin above $70,000, Ethereum above $2,000, all in a matter of minutes. This just happened yesterday, right after the stream that I was doing. I closed my stream, I went to take my lunch break, and when I come back, everyone is texting me, did you see that? The markets are pumping. And Bitcoin was 68, 69, 70, and currently it is at $71,500. Ethereum is almost at $2,300. Solana's at $86, and Hyperliquid went above the 70 once again. So why is that? Why the markets pump yesterday? This is what we're going to talk in today's video. Let's jump right into it. So yeah, the markets are pumping, but what is behind all of this? Well, it is, as always, the US. The US is the culprit for having this. Are we going to have a new bull run? I'm not sure. Is this just a correction and then we're going to go back down? Again, I'm not sure. But by the looks of it, it looks like we broke above the cycle. We have to wait on the weekly, on the higher time frame, on the charts to see if we're actually going to close above that, if we're going to hold these supports. But what exactly happened is that the US is buying back its bonds, because if you look for the 20-30-year yield, it is going to almost all-time highs at around 5%, 5.5% here in the United States. And it was going so high that the United States decided to intervene. So by September, they're going to double the amount of money that they inject into this buyback program. It's going to soften the dollar, but it's also going to lower the yield on the higher time frames. So on the 20-year, 30 years, these are going to go down, which is very bullish for crypto, for example. And that's exactly what happened, is of course one of the many catalysts. We were also waiting inside this sideways market for so long that it was almost like a short squeeze. And I'm going to show you how much money was lost, because over $3 billion were liquidated in just a matter of hours. So before we jump into these big numbers, let's take a look at our current situation here when it comes to the market. So Bitcoin is right now at 71,448. We have Ethereum at 2,274, BNB at 641. We have then XRP at 124. XRP went up 20% in the past day. Solana is up 13% at $86. And we have Hyperliquid at 72, up 24%. And then we have Zcash at 561. Followed by Monero at 418, which didn't show that much strength for some reason. Cardano is at 19 cents, and then all the others. Now, looking at the Fear and Greed Index, people are now getting greedy. We are back into the greed that we haven't seen for so long. We were in extreme fear just last week. Last week we were below the 25, which is the threshold for extreme fear, and now everyone is greedy. Everyone is trying to get in. And this is what I was talking about in my live stream yesterday, that we're seeing a lot of movement back into trading, into the trenches, people talking about their favorite meme coins and all these things. And now it finally shows that the market is getting ready to pump the next leg up, maybe next all-time high for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others. But very weird to see that the greed is now finally kicking in. Now, looking at the liquidations, look, Bitcoin alone did $1.69 billion liquidated. Ethereum did 1.18. If you look in the past 24 hours, 91% of all positions liquidated, they were shorts. So shorts got wrecked. And this applied not only for crypto, but also stocks. I don't remember when was the last time we saw a number above 2 billion. 1 billion we saw a few months ago, but 2 billion, I haven't seen that number quite a while. So there was a huge liquidation happening, a huge short squeeze right here, which is one of the catalysts for things going up so fast. Now, let's look at the charts, because the charts look crazy. Look at Bitcoin right here, how it looks. We were inside this range. We were inside this smaller range right here, and then boom, we broke out, and now we're even on overbought territory when it comes to the RSI. We have to keep an eye on this, which is the 200 moving average, to see if it's going to hold or not. If it decides to hold, then we're going to have that as a ceiling, as a resistance. But if we close above it on the daily, we can test it tomorrow as well. And if we hold, then it's going to become our support, which is fantastic, because it will mark most likely a bullish momentum, a very bullish momentum for the long time frame. So we're talking weeklies and monthlies here, which could be very exciting news for us, where we were stuck on the sideways market for quite a while. So still bullish on the smaller time frames. On the longer time frames, we have to keep an eye. If you look on the weekly, look at this candle on the weekly. It is crazy, but as I said, it shows that if we close above this 200 moving average here, which is the 68,000, and we hold, we could be looking at another green week and another couple of green weeks until we go to the blue moving average, which is the 100 moving average, which is going to hold us as a next resistance zone. Now, looking at Ethereum, look at this. Ethereum is crazy on the 1-hour chart. Ethereum has been in this range, and now we're going back to the top of the range that we had in May. So if we break above this, it's going to be bullish for Ethereum more than it is bullish for Bitcoin, looking at just the charts, right? Again, of course, by looking at the RSI, we are overbought right here on the daily, but because it was such a big movement in a matter of just a few hours, it is, of course, to be expected. So maybe a correction or maybe a stagnation period of a couple of days will be something that we can see, because the movement was so rash that we either correct back down to around the 2100, which was the moving average, the 200 moving average, or we just keep flat. We wait for the RSI to slow down, to cool down towards maybe the 70s, the 60s, and then we get another leg up if we're still keeping this momentum. Now, looking at Hyperliquid was amazing. I haven't traded Hyperliquid in a little bit because I traded Zcash, and I'm going to show you my Zcash trades. What strike did I trade them? And Hyperliquid, look, Hyperliquid got all the way to the 74 in these candles, which is almost all-time high. All-time high was 77, 76 and a half. So we're getting closer to do another all-time high here. It looks like we have to slow down because we're way above the Bollinger Bands, way above the exterior part of the Bollinger Bands, meaning that we are overbought, not only on the RSI, but also on the Bollinger Bands, meaning that we're going to go sideways for a little bit, or we have to correct for us to go to the next leg. Huge movements, usually they come with a correction in direction when they're very, very fast. And now Zcash, because Zcash got me a couple of good trades. I traded Zcash since the 12th, so 2 weeks ago. I started with a trade that expires this Friday, so a trade that was a little bit longer. But yesterday I had the possibility to enter to another one just because of this huge candle. So I got to another one that expires on the 28th, and this one was a 22 delta, so a little bit closer in risk than what I actually want, but it was a 17% return. So if this is profitable, it's going to be 17% return on a single credit spread, which is very, very good if I say so. But look, shows already on the 4 hours that it's going back inside the Bollinger Bands and it's slowing down. You can see the decreasing here on the RSI. So most likely it's going to go back down to the 553. It's going to go down to the 550s more or less, and then if it still has momentum, the volume is slowing down, but if the momentum is still positive, then we can keep going up and up and up. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. Hopefully this delta, which was 22, right now is at 17, 18. If we keep this momentum, it's going to be bullish and it's going to be profit in my pockets. So that being said, let me show you here on Bitopex how we're going with the copy trade. The copy trade currently is at 0.6% on the Bitcoin option strategy, on the 0DTE for Bitcoin, and on the altcoin option strategy, we're currently at 1.5 for the month of August. So 0.6 for Bitcoin and 1.5 for Ethereum and altcoins, which is good, right? It's very, very good. And right now with this market moving, maybe there's more volatility, maybe there's better strategies for us to get in. Because if you remember, the whole strategy is for you to lose less money, meaning that sometimes we're not going to trade, because sometimes it's better not to trade and avoid losing money than to be trying to trade every time possible and sometimes losing more money, right? This is why we keep our maximum drawdown very, very low. On the altcoin is a little bit risky, but of course it's riskier, more returns, right? It makes sense. So we have to keep an eye. Hopefully we are able to squeeze in more trades right now because the market is, you know, a little bit more excited. We have to see. So most likely if I find any window, I'm going to sell an Ethereum call, because Ethereum has been going up quite a while. So Ethereum is the one that is way more oversold, overbought than anyone else. So if I have to sell something do we have the 24th right here? Yeah, we have the 24th, which is by next Monday. If I can sell that, I'm most likely going to be looking towards a 2400 to sell. So I would sell 2400 by the 24th, which should give me something. So let's see if we can do that right now, if we have enough premium. The 2400, do we have that? Yes. And how much would I get paid? I will get paid 282. So that would be a little bit risky, but maybe it makes sense for us. So 24 is going to be by Monday. So if we have a today, tomorrow with high volatility, but then we slow down, I don't know, maybe that's something that we can do. Yeah, let's go with this one. Maybe it's going to be profitable. And yes, we're in. So we sold a 2400 call for the 24th of August. So for 4 days from now, if this is profitable, we're going to be above the 14,000 again on our portfolio, which is a huge milestone for us because we have been struggling to go back above the 14,000 for quite a while. But now with this $200 in our pocket, we should be pushing right through that number. So this is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and always share this video with someone who can find this interesting and who would like to trade. And if they want to trade, the link in the description will bring them to Bitopex as always. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.